Hello, my name is Stephen Brousseau and I am a senior in industrial technology. Today we're here to talk about the effect that peer relations have on productivity in the workplace. In order to do so, we have each conducted an interview and meticulously researched the topic to be able to provide the best insight available. I conducted my interview with a civil engineer who was able to shed some insight into my related field and to reflect that relationships have within this industry when completing your assigned projects. Because of this, it's important to know who you work best with. Everyone is different, and naturally certain types of people will get along better than others, which is why it's paramount to be able to identify the different types of working relationships. There are 6 different types of working relationships. The first one is an acquaintance. Many work relationships don't pass advanced acquaintances. This can result in poor communication, no cooperation, and low productivity levels. Once you've been acquainted with someone, it's a good idea to start working on good communication to build up the work relationship. This will help you later on when you have to network with others. The second type of relationship is mentors. A mentor relationship is when one colleague is more knowledgeable or experienced than the other and uses his knowledge to educate others. Mentor relationships can be beneficial to both your career and the company you work for because they encourage you to work towards your goals and they have the tools to tell you how to do it. The third type are advocates. While mentors coach you and teach you about your career, advocates will work to inspire and motivate you. Advocates can help others because they care about them as people as opposed to helping you for personal. The fourth type are trailblazers. Trailblazers are those colleagues at your company that set a great example for you to follow. They can motivate you to become a trailblazer yourself, which will help your company overall. The fifth type of workplace relationships are communicators. The communicator is always reading the latest news and making sure to keep you up to date as well. With all the latest information at your fingertips, you're sure to do your best work for your company. The last type of working relationship are foes. Be aware of the foes in your company. Negative relationships between coworkers can be damaging for the company, so it's best to address the problem before it gets worse. Why is it important to know what kind of workplace relationships you have? Knowing what kind of relationships you have with your coworkers will allow you to choose who to work with and who to avoid when trying to accomplish a project. Different people have different personalities, and because of this, some people just naturally won't get along with others. The type of relationship that you have with a certain coworker will drastically impact the efficiency of your work.
Hi there, my name's Alex Goldwasser. I'm a senior in supply chain management here at ISU, and I interviewed someone directly in the supply chain industry. As mentioned, I'm Alex, and now that Stephen's given you some background information on our topic, I'm going to give you some insight on our interviews and what went on, what we discussed, and kind of about the people we interviewed. We all have different majors here at Iowa State, so we all were able to talk to different people in varying fields, which gave us kind of a well-rounded look at productivity in the workplace and how workplace relationships affect that. Stephen spoke to someone in his field, a civil engineer, and he was able to give him some insight on how productivity affects the workplace and what gets done in the workplace when relationships are positive or negative. Aaliyah spoke to a vet tech who also told her a little bit about how those relationships with employees can kind of be reflected and kind of be turned back around to the client. I spoke to a professional in supply chain. He told me a little bit about how, with communicating and how communication affects and the relationships that we have affect how well we communicate. Since I'm in supply chain, that's very important because you're communicating with people, getting things from point A to point B as quick as possible. So having a positive relationship in that situation is very important. And lastly, Abigail, she spoke to a previous employer. She worked at a pizza place, and the general manager told her a little bit about how in a job like that where there's high turnover and it's a fast-paced environment, how those relationships affect productivity and affect the overall outcome of sales. These professionals are all qualified to be interviewed, in our opinion, because they all have dealt with large groups of people. They kind of have an oversight of what goes on in the workplace, but they also work individually with people, so they understand how relationships and how everyone kind of has a different relationship with other people depending on how people are in the office and who they get along with and things like that. So we kind of came to a consensus that pretty much everyone agrees that if there's a positive workplace relationship and environment, productivity will be higher. Whereas if there's a negative kind of workplace environment and negative relationships within the environment, productivity is lower. Mark Walker, the VP of C.H. Robinson, the individual I spoke to in supply chain, mentioned that he noticed that there was a 30% decline in productivity when relationships were negative in the workplace because communication was declined. People felt less comfortable to communicate with one another, and thus it affected workplace and productivity and how much was getting done in the day. This is important to us because as future bosses or future employees, it's important that we take note of these things because we can either, one, as a boss, figure out ways to improve productivity by improving workplace relationships and making our employees feel comfortable, or two, as employees, we can figure out how to kind of not let those relationships, because it's not like we're not going to get along with everyone, but there can be positive relationships in the environment even if there's someone that you don't get along with. So kind of how to see past those and continue to be productive for the company. It was also noted amongst all of the professionals that we spoke to was that if someone doesn't have a positive relationship with the work environment and the people in their environment, they're less likely to be productive because they don't want to kind of contribute to the company. They just are doing it because they have to, or they're stuck or whatever. So if there's negative workplace environments, you'll be getting less quality work and people won't be doing the best that they can, and they'll also kind of not be as productive as they can be. So it's important to keep those workplace environments and relationships positive because it increases productivity. We all found it pretty interesting that everyone pretty much agreed that having positive environments and positive workplace relationships increases productivity. But one thing that was noted was that there's a fine line between a social relationship and a workplace relationship. So making sure that your employees are aware that they're in the workplace and it's okay to have relationships, have fun in the workplace, but also to recognize that they are in the workplace. So they need to kind of find that happy medium between the social relationship and the workplace relationship and make things work as one so that productivity can be optimized. This is important to not only us, it's important to everyone because productivity can be optimized by a simple change of the workplace environment and the relationships that people have in the environment. It can increase the business and its operations. It can increase employee health, where there's a lot of focus right now on mental health and the environments that you're surrounded with and how it affects your mental health. So you can increase mental health within employees, and it overall just creates a better environment for everyone to work in, more enjoyable. People are more excited to go to work. They're reaching higher goals because it's a good environment, so productivity is higher. So it's important to all of us for those reasons. And with the interviews we conducted, it basically reiterates what the article says, that workplace relationships and having a positive workplace environment and attitude towards the workplace increases productivity. We can increase the attitude towards the workplace by doing company events, some kind of bonding activities, making sure that people really feel comfortable in the workplace and that they can go to anyone in the office would really help. So thank you for listening to my spiel, and next we have Aaliyah to tell us a little bit about relationships in the workplace and different kinds of relationships there are and which one is the best for workplace environments.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah Smith, and I am a sophomore at Iowa State University. I am majoring in animal science, and a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to talk to a professional about the peer relationships in the workplace and the effects on productivity. And today, I will also be talking about the different type of relationships in the workplace and which one is the best for you and the most productive, and why. Hi, thank you, Alex. As mentioned, I am Aaliyah Smith, and I will be talking about which relationships are the best and most productive and why. So, from Forbes.com, they talk about the many relationships that don't go beyond acquaintanceships, and it's okay to have a few people as your acquaintance, but you don't want to have every person you encounter to be an acquaintance because you won't go far in your career. So the first relationship that they talk about that's a good one for you is a mentor. And a mentor is a teacher and a coach, and that can help lead to powerful and positive relationships for both careers. The second relationship that they talk about is an advocate, and an advocate inspires you, and that can help to increase your productivity and skill. The third one is a communicator, and a communicator keeps you in the loop, and the info they share to you is shared in a positive way, unlike gossip, thus helping you to do your very best at your work. And then the last relationship they talk about is a trailblazer who motivates you and sets an example for you, and they inspire you, and this can lead to stronger relationships and startup. A romantic and faux relationship can have some positive effects, but you have to be cautious because they can also lead to some legal problems. But I would say it's more negative and legal problems than positive for you. Weeks ago, I had the opportunity to talk to a professional about the peer relationships and the workplace and the effect on work productivity. And her name is Carrie Schweig, and she had a lot of positive things to say, like, I think peer relationships strengthen your ability to complete work tasks. When you have a good working relationship, you act more as a team. When I asked her about the positives and the negatives on peer relationships in the workplace, she said that positives are increased productivity and feeling supported in your work role. And she also said the negatives are if the relationship becomes too close, then conflict can occur and that could affect the work relationship. When researching my topic, I found researcher Timothy Cornelissen, who found that having peer relationships at work can affect the work productivity by motivating others to do better and be better and learn from their peers and also pick up skills from them as well. So, wrapping things up for us, we have Abigail to deliver our final thoughts.
Hi, my name is Abigail Bergstrom, and I'm a junior here at Iowa State University, and I'm majoring in hospitality management. And after hearing from Stephen, Aaliyah, and Alex, I'm here to overall, throughout our presentation, we discussed the importance of workplace relationships, the different ways those relationships can look, and overall which type of relationships are the most beneficial for the workplace as a whole. So first, after hearing from Stephen, we know that there can be 6 different ways that work relationships can manifest, whether it be mentors, acquaintances, advocates. It is clear to see that people working together for a common goal tend to form relationships with others in order to get the job done. And ultimately, that common goal, that common task that the group is working for, ultimately builds that relationship and it sets the foundation for that relationship to grow. In addition to Stephen's research, we have Alex's words regarding our firsthand experiences talking to different professionals in various fields that have experienced these relationships firsthand and experienced how these relationships have made positive and or negative impacts on their employees throughout their career. And so after hearing from Alex, we were able to hear just how diverse our professionals were and the different things that they had to say. And finally, we moved on to Aaliyah, where she discussed, she gave us some insight into which relationships are ultimately the most effective and the most positive to have in the workplace. And overall, after listening to all 3 of our wonderful group mates, it's important that we really were able to get across the idea of not only how important these workplace relationships are, but the end goal of them and the way that they can be the most positive for everybody involved. So moving forward, we hope that you take away the importance of how your actions and your behaviors at work and your effort into your job tasks and working with others in a group is really what's important, and it's what really can drive employees and can really drive productivity. So we hope that in the future that you all will consider how you approach these workplace relationships and how to make them the most positive that you can be and to be the most successful in your career. So thank you so much for taking the time to hear what we have to say, and we hope that you all have learned something and can go forward remembering what you've learned today from all of us, and we wish you the best of luck in your careers in the future. Thank you.